Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. And welcome today to another price-based top 10 roundup video. If you love this style of content as much as I do, then I would love it if you would subscribe to the channel by hitting the big button with the word subscribe on it. Today it's field watches. I have got 10 of the very best field watches that I think you can buy on a relatively modest budget, starting today at only $40 and tapping out at $440 with a fair spread of pricing in between. I'll leave links to all 10 in the description of the video in the order that I show them. By all means, use those links as your starting point, but feel free to dig around. Find the best prices you possibly can for your local region and your local currency. Let's get on with it. And I'm going to make this really easy for you today. If you are on a super tight budget, this is going to be a short video for you because my first choice is fantastic and you don't need to spend more than $40 to find a field watch that ticks every single box. It's the one on my wrist today. It's the Militado ML05. I bought one of these in the AliExpress sale last November and I haven't stopped talking about it since. They are less than $40 shipped to your door. Now, they do look a lot like one of the more expensive watches that will feature later on today's list, so perhaps not exactly original, but as most of these designs are fairly prescriptive anyway, it's not a huge complaint. These are a great size at 38mm, but with 20mm lug width, and they tick all of the boxes. They're legible, they have big numerals, they have a good handset, they have surprisingly decent lume, and a wearable NATO-style nylon double pass strap. Crystal is scratch-proof sapphire and the movement is a Seiko VH31. Now that is a quartz movement, so battery powered for accuracy and reliability, but it ticks 4 times per second so that it looks like a mechanical watch, offering in some ways the best of both worlds for a price that simply beggars belief. I gotta say, this is one of the best value watches I have ever seen, and a no-brainer if you're looking to fill a specific field watch slot in your collection for as little money as possible. Having said that, if you have a little more money around the $200 mark, you can't really go wrong with the Seiko 5 interpretation of a field watch. Now currently that is the SRPG. They used to make these in 2 different sizes, a 42 and a 37, but they discontinued those and launched just one size in the middle at 39mm, and it's a really strong all-rounder. Unlike the Militado, this one is powered by a mechanical movement, a Seiko in-house 4R36 caliber with day and date complication, which is a boon if you're wearing it as your main watch or daily watch. Seiko are one of the strongest brands you can put on your wrist at this price, and they just love to give you choices. So this one is available with a bracelet on a NATO strap, with a blacked out case, a green dial, blue dial, black dial, you name it, and all for similar money. And if you're a flipper, Seiko is one of the best places to put your money because you're likely to get a decent proportion of it back if you decide to sell in the future. For the same money, $200, if you're looking for something mechanical but a little more traditional, why not consider the Bulova Hack? Again, just like the Seiko, these are available in a number of different colours. There's even one version where some of the proceeds of the sale go to the Veterans Watch Initiative, a program that helps US military veterans retrain as watchmakers. Now, the Hack, like both previous watches on the list today, features large and prominent Arabics from 1 to 12 on an outer ring, but with smaller, less prominent, but still fairly legible Arabics from 13 to 24 on an inner ring. These twin rings of numerals, while not an essential requirement of a field watch, are one of the key characteristics that defines the breed. And I really like the look personally, which is why you'll see so many watches with all 24 sets of numerals on today's list. Now, like the Seiko, you get a mechanical movement, but also like the Seiko, you're only getting mineral crystal covering the dial. And like the Seiko, it's a bit thick as a consequence of both of those things, coming in at 13.5mm. Water resistance also not the best at only 30 meters. But again, you're getting a historic brand here with a rich history and good resale value for just around 200 to 220 US dollars if you buy it on the grey market. So those first three watches all had quite a similar look, and you'll see that look again and again later on in the list. But let's go in a slightly different direction. Let's look at a couple of pieces that offer a modern interpretation of the field watch using modern materials, starting with the Timex Expedition North Titanium. Now again, these are right around the 200 US dollar mark and have a lot of the key characteristics that we have already seen, including big numerals, legible hands, a clear seconds hand and markers. But the case size is more modern here at 41mm, crystal is sapphire, water resistance is 200 meters, best on the list, fantastic. And I think it's got a really cool aesthetic, this one. The dull grey finish of the titanium case, crown and bezel look really appropriate for an outdoorsy military style field watch. The movement though is nothing special. It's a Miyota 8000 series, actually a downgraded version of the one that featured in the Bulova Hack, but they are definitely reliable and have a date complication, which is useful as a daily driver. If you like the looks but not the specifications mix of that one, then they offer essentially the same watch in stainless steel with a solar powered movement for much less money. Both sensible options on a list full of sensible options. Talking of which, it doesn't get much more sensible than Citizen. If you buy a Citizen from an authorised dealer, here in Australia at least, you get a 5-year warranty. That is the same length of warranty you get with a Tudor, by the way, for nothing like the money. And Citizen's AW5000 field watch is one of the best watches you can buy around the $100 mark, full stop. Again, all the key characteristics are here. Big legible handset, even bigger numerals, but today wrapped in a big case. This is 42mm, it's the biggest case, the biggest watch therefore on the list today. And it features Citizen's proprietary eco-drive technology, so it's a solar quartz. Once the watch has been exposed to some light and the internal battery is full of juice, it won't require UV for up to 6 months, making it perfect for a zero maintenance daily watch or rotation piece. Do bear in mind it is quite a large watch and the straps on these are super stiff out the box, but for $100 it's a great value, contemporary expression of the field watch genre. Alright, now let's go to the most expensive watch on the list today, the most iconic watch on the list today. So iconic in fact that you've already seen the looks borrowed by the cheapest watch on the list today. No video on affordable field watches would be complete without a mention of the Hamilton Khaki Field. If you have the budget, this is arguably the pick of the list today. They're based on a 1960s design by Hamilton, issued to US and various other militaries. They are Swiss made, they feature a fantastic Swiss ETA hand-wound caliber with an 80-hour power reserve. They have sapphire crystal, and they're a Hamilton, a watch brand that is respected by even the most snobbish of collectors. The case has a bead-blasted finish, the crown is perfectly sized and a tactile delight. There's decent lume on the hands and the indices, and the proportions of the watch are spot on. Rather annoyingly though, even for your 440 US dollars, you don't get anti-reflective undercoating on that sapphire crystal. But if you can cope with that, this is the best field watch you can buy for less than $500. Shit, does that mean it's all downhill from here? Not necessarily. There are still some cracking watches out there, including these little cuties by Bertucci. Now I have included this watch, or these watches, on a number of lists over the years at various different price points because they're just so damn appealing. They're made out of polymer plastic, so they're ultra lightweight, they feature Japanese quartz movements, specifically chosen batteries for extended lives. Bertucci has been making them almost unchanged for 20 years, so that suggests that they rather got the design right in the first place. There is another suggestion of that I'll show you shortly. And if you're not too fussy about size or colour, you can pick these up for under 50 US dollars on Amazon. They are around 200 plus for the titanium versions directly from Bertucci. Having said all of that, even the expensive ones, the titanium ones, not exactly spec monsters given the fact that they're all quartz and feature mineral crystals. They say imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. Bertucci must have been delighted then when they looked at the Boderry Voyager, because they are not all that dissimilar. If specifications matter more than provenance, have a look at the Boderry. You get a titanium watch with an automatic movement and sapphire crystal for under $100. Plus they now do these in some funky colours as well, so you don't have to go for the traditional drab brown, green, black or even white versions if you want a field watch style watch but with a little more flair. Boderry sells these from their website as well as on AliExpress. I will leave links to both with the appropriate discount codes. Just go for the ones on the NATO straps though. The bracelets aren't all that up to much. They're just too cheap to have the money spread that far and that wide. Now if we swing the pendulum back the other way and prioritise provenance over specifications, let me direct you to the CWC G10. CWC stands for Cabot Watch Company, and they were the official suppliers of British military issued watches for decades. They reckon they issued over 200,000 G10s to British military personnel between the early 80s and the late noughties. You would expect therefore the watch to be rather well thought out by this stage, and you wouldn't be wrong. It has fixed spring bars eliminating a possible point of breakage. There's a battery hatch so you can replace the battery yourself every 3 to 4 years. It features a super reliable Swiss made ETA quartz movement, Super Luminova. On the dial and hands it has a sufficient 50 meters of water resistance and an acrylic crystal which can be cleaned up cheaply and easily if scratched. 40 grams without the strap and a 38mm diameter case means it wears unobtrusively, just what you want in the field. Now, these watches are not cheap. In fact, I would call them expensive for what you get. They are 240 British pounds, that's over $300 US, for a watch with far less on-paper specifications than the $40 Militado I showed you up front. So they don't come cheap, but such levels of provenance rarely do. Alright, we're going to finish where we started today with a watch that need not cost you more than a 50. Now I've tried not to double dip today, I've tried to stick with one watch per watch brand, but I feel it's probably worth sticking in a second Timex, primarily on the strength of one single feature. We're back in the Expedition range today. I'm going to allow you to take your pick here as long as the watch that you're interested in features Indiglo. Indiglo is Timex's own proprietary electroluminescent backlight system, and it lights up the entire dial. It is very impressive. It is far more impressive than anything else on the market. The rest of the watch, perhaps not quite as impressive though. This particular one that I have does have a nice feature set because of that curved LCD display in addition to the analog hands, so you get a bunch of additional features here that you don't get anywhere else on the list today. The movements though, they can be very noisy with a noticeable ticking noise, and like the Bertucci, Timex's Expeditions tend to be light to the point of feeling slightly toy-like on wrist. That is great if you're going on some mad multi-day hike though, where every gram matters, I suppose. And I'll say it again, Indiglo. So there you have it, a bunch of watches today, all identifiably cut from the same cloth, all sharing the same DNA. But even then, we've had automatic movements, manual winders, single tick, 4-tick and solar quartz movements. We've had polycarbonate cases, stainless steel and titanium cases. We've had Swiss made, Japanese made, American made and Chinese made watches. And we've seen several times that there's a real trade-off between specifications and backstory. You can get the Militado, which has all of the looks and the specs for $40, but if you want the real deal, you need to find an extra $400 for the Hamilton. Well done for making it all the way to the end of the video. Why not watch full reviews of the Seiko or the Hami here. Thanks for watching this one. I'll see you again in the next one.